icon Michael Roach. Known universally as Disco, full forward Michael Roach was recruited to Richmond from Longford.
I mean, he was tall and skinny, and my memory tells me that he started playing for us in the seniors, playing on the wing. So he was probably the tallest wingman we've ever had at Richmond, around about 6'6".
But Michael was this tall, athletic, unbelievable guy. I reckon he played on the wing in his first couple of games with the Tigers. And then Michael, then he became a superstar full forward. Just a bloke that you'd love to be with.
When I first got to Richmond, Roachy was always around. He always has been a supporter and comes to games. And I actually did a fair bit of goal kicking training with him in 1995. I actually kicked straight for once that year. I kicked 27 goals 3 before I did my knee, and I think it was Roachy, the work that he did with me. He was such a beautiful kick, and he really taught that well. And then I did my knee, and Roachy probably didn't have time with work, and I was more worried about getting my knee right, and we never worked together again, and I never kicked straight again.
A deadly accurate kick and spectacular mark. For a time, he was the best forward in Australian football.
Well, Michael played a significant role in the 1980 Premiership side because he had a magnificent season. He kicked over 100 goals, only the second Richmond player ever to do that. So to have someone, at full forward who, could take great marks and kick magnificent goals, because he was a great kick, Michael. He was a beautiful kick.
Being an on-baller, you look up and Michael was smart, he led into your vision. So it was easy to kick to. And if you kicked it up high, he'd take a big screamer. But his greatest attribute, obviously, when he got the footy, you kicked it to him because you knew you had a 99% chance of kicking a goal, and that's what he did most of his career.
We could bomb the ball down to the forward line, and we knew that Michael would contest and compete very, very strongly in the air. And there was very few people who could outmark Michael Roach.
Disco was a superstar all that year, kicked 118 goals for the year and was great to be with. One thing that Michael never did was tackle, and that was part, and as he said, look, as I said on a couple of occasions, Michael wouldn't bruise a grape.
Enormously popular right throughout football circles, his career was hampered by injury. However, he achieved greatness.
He was a selfish player. As you know, he took the greatest mark in the history of the game. Greatest mark ever taken over 3 Hawthorn players who were all 6'6", Ian Payton, Kelvin Moore and Dean Moore. It's a famous, famous photograph. And Michael is soaring above the pack, standing on their heads, and he's taking the most magnificent mark. Now, I'm very privileged to be in that famous photograph, the greatest mark ever taken in the history of the game. I'm down in the left-hand corner of the photograph, and I was at the bottom of that pack because I was calling out for Michael the handball down to me. But he refused. He absolutely refused and went back and had a shot himself and kicked the goal. He's a very selfish player, Michael Roach.
Mum and Dad were over from Tassie, and I didn't, it was just a normal game, and lucky enough that the ball was kicked in my direction and I was leading for the ball, and a pack was coming backwards, and I jumped, not knowing the pack was there, and all of a sudden I'm sort of sitting up there and thought, crikey, what do I do? So I grabbed it and held it for long enough for the whistle to be blown, and then sort of dropped it to get back down, fall head first. So it was, and I know Dad in his Tasmanian drawl said, well, if you never play another game of league footy, you might be remembered for something.
He played 200 games in 13 seasons at Punt Road and was a 2-time Coleman medalist as the VFL's leading goal kicker. His 607 goals makes him 4th all-time highest goal scorer for the Tigers. And he takes his well-deserved place as an icon of Tasmania's Football Hall of Fame.
Disco, well, he's got that much dancing ability in his life. So one night, having a drink after a game, I think it was in '78, he was up there and they started playing the Disco Duck. Neil Baum christened him. Well, what about Michael the Disco Duck? And it just stuck from there. He's got not one bit of rhythm in his body.
When you're a premiership player and a superstar in a premiership team like Disco was, he's always going to be remembered by the Richmond fans. Everyone loves him. Obviously, Michael's a great person. If anyone who meets him walks away and goes, gee, what a great person. And just a superstar player, kicked 100 goals. Only 2 people have ever done that in Richmond's history. So that says a fair bit.
Look at him now, I know he's an icon. Now, an icon is a very old person that can't walk, jump, all the things that he was good at, he can't do anymore.
I'm certain all of his teammates in the Richmond Football Club would like to say to Michael Roach, well done, Disco. much admired and much loved person of the Richmond Football Club.